mistook my silence for absence, for weakness, for surrender. But silence isn't the absence of noise. It's the presence of control. The kind of control they'll never understand. The kind that doesn't seek to be heard, just felt. You don't see a storm when it starts. You feel the shift in the air, the pressure, the stillness. That's what my silence is. A signal, a warning. And they missed it. They were too busy talking over me, laughing at me, looking through me. They thought my quiet meant I had nothing left to say. The truth is, I had too much to say, and no one worthy to hear it. I watched them. Every fake smile, every insult masked as advice. Every time they called me calm like it was a flaw. What they didn't know was that every second I held back, I was sharpening. Every moment I stayed quiet, I was taking notes. And now, I'm done listening. They'll say they didn't see it coming. Of course they didn't. Because power doesn't walk in shouting. It doesn't throw fists or break down doors. It waits. It watches. And when it moves in silence. I stopped reacting. I stopped explaining. I stopped proving anything to anyone. And that's when I became dangerous. Because the moment you stop needing to be heard is the moment you start being felt. Let them talk. Let them judge. Let them keep playing the part while I become the threat they can't prepare for. Not with noise. Not with attention. But with the kind of presence that makes them regret every word they said when they thought I was too quiet to fight back. I used to think silence was something forced on me, that staying quiet made me small, invisible. But silence isn't absence. It's discipline. It's choosing not to waste your breath on people who only listen to themselves. It's watching, learning, waiting, until it's time. They didn't hear me coming because I stopped announcing myself. I stopped raising my hand to be acknowledged by people who were never going to clap. And that silence, it started to speak for me. In my eyes, in the way I carried myself, in the way I walked into the same rooms where they once talked over me and made them shut up without a word. People get scared when you change and don't tell them why. When you stop reacting, stop engaging, stop explaining. They call it distance, coldness. But really, it's control. Because I don't fight with noise anymore. I fight with results. They thought silence meant I gave up. No, I leveled up. I chose to redirect all the energy I used to waste on proving my worth and put it into becoming someone they can't dismiss. Someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't explain. They'll try to say they helped, that they supported me. But deep down, they remember every time they tried to make me smaller, every time they laughed, every time they said I'd never make it. They felt safe because I didn't fight back then. But now they see what silence creates when it's been fed by fire. And here's the truth. The louder they get, the quieter I become. Because I don't need to match their volume. I exceed their impact. The old me would have argued, would have explained every feeling, defended every decision, begged to be understood. That version of me wanted peace, wanted connection, wanted to be heard. But silence taught me something louder than words ever could. Peace isn't something you beg for. It's something you protect. They thought I was ignoring them, but I wasn't. I was observing. I was remembering. And most of all, I was becoming. Because silence doesn't mean I didn't notice. It means I chose not to react. And now that I've chosen silence as my weapon, they don't know how to fight back. You can't argue with someone who doesn't speak. You can't manipulate someone who no longer responds. That's what terrifies them. Their power ended where my silence began. This isn't about revenge. It's about presence. It's about walking into a room and owning it without saying a word. It's about letting them feel everything they once ignored. Without a scream, without a warning, just quiet pressure. If you're still here, still watching, subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell. Because if you feel this in your soul, then you already know this isn't just a video. It's a mirror that used to talk over me, laugh in rooms I wasn't invited to, assume their noise made them stronger. But now they go quiet when I enter. Not because I raised my voice, but because I didn't. That's the thing about silence. It demands attention without asking for it. It lingers in the air long after you leave. It makes people question everything they thought they knew about you. They start wondering, what changed? Why doesn't he react anymore? Why is it so uncomfortable when he says nothing? Because silence reveals. It reflects. It exposes what their words tried to cover up. And when you've been through enough, you don't come back to explain. You come back to dominate. Quietly. I don't announce my growth. I don't beg to be acknowledged. I let the results speak in rooms where my name was once a joke. Let the silence echo in the spaces where they once dismissed me. They said I changed, but I didn't change for them. I changed because of them. Because every time they underestimated me, I stored that. Not in anger, in patience, in precision, in becoming so focused that I no longer needed to be seen. I became impossible to avoid. They can't compete with someone who doesn't even play the same game anymore. Someone who doesn't chase revenge but moves with purpose. Quietly, relentlessly, unstoppably. Because when your silence gets louder than their noise, that's when you've already won. I used to fill every silence with explanations, with reasons, with apologies for existing too loudly or too quietly, too much or not enough. But now I understand. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you heal, how you grow, or how you choose to rise. Silence became my boundary, my sanctuary, and they hate that they no longer have access to me. Not because I blocked them, but because I outgrew them. Because I no longer react the way they expect. I don't give them anything to feed off anymore. No drama, no weakness, just stillness. And that stillness is suffocating. Let them wonder. Let them sit with the space I left behind. That's more punishment than any words I could ever say. They didn't fear me when I was shouting. They fear me now, because I'm still. And stillness is power they'll never understand. I stopped showing up where I wasn't respected. I stopped pouring energy into empty hands. And that's when everything shifted. That's when I realized I don't need to say a word to be heard. All I have to do is move differently. And now they feel it. Not in what I say, but in what I no longer say. Not in what I give, but in what I took back. Silence doesn't need defense. It is the defense. They thought silence was retreat. That by not responding, I was folding. That by not speaking, I was losing. But silence was never about escape. It was preparation. Now I walk different, think different. I don't chase closure. I am closure. They don't know how to face someone who's not trying to fix what broke, not trying to make peace, not trying to return to how things were. Because I don't want it how it was. I want better, colder, cleaner, stronger. And I got it. silence. They ask, "What happened to you?" And I say nothing. Because what happened didn't break me. It rebuilt me into something unshakable, unreachable, not angry, just done. So let them wonder. Let them fill in the blanks with their own guilt, their own regrets. I don't need to correct their stories. I've already rewritten my own. The version of me they tried to silence, he's gone. The version they created by doubting, dismissing, disrespecting, that one's here. And he doesn't speak much. But when he moves, the whole room listens. What about you? What's the one thing you stopped explaining to others and started owning in silence? Drop it in the comments. I want to know where your silence began and when you're ready for more. Watch. Your silence will break them in ways anger never could. Or show them no reaction. Their power ends there. This isn't just a message. It's the start of your shift.